Okay, so when you're solving something, when you have like a 2 theta, when you solve something and you have a 2 theta and it's between minus pi and pi, then theta is in between minus pi and pi, but 2 theta is in between 2 pi and minus 2 pi. Then what you need to do is to split this. Okay, so then you split it, alright? So you split it so you go between minus 2 pi, 2 theta and 0, and you go between 0 and 2 theta and 2 pi. The reason that you do is because when you're considering minus 2 pi to 2 pi, you're going around this side from 0 to 2 pi, because that's 0 to 2 pi, and then it also says all the way back to minus 2 pi, so that means going around this way. So once again, so you're going from, if you started at 0, you go 0 to 2 pi that way, and then you're going from 0 to minus 2 pi going that way. So if you split it into 2 sections, and this one we're going to go that way, which will be that one, and then when I do this one here, I'm going to go that way, which ends up being, if we go to here, it goes like that, and that's 0 to 2 pi. This one goes 0 around there till you get to 2 pi, and this one goes 0 and you go back the other way to minus 2 pi. And by doing that, you've actually covered from minus 2 pi back to 0, all the way from 0 to 2 pi. So when you solve each of these separately, you've got cos 2 theta equals minus a half and cos 2 theta equals a half. When you go to solve it, when you solve this one here, you're going around that way. So you're actually going minus theta, then you're going minus pi minus theta, you're going pi minus theta, pi plus theta, but it's negative, and then you're going negative like the 361, 2 theta minus theta. So when you do this one here, and you're going around the normal way from 0 to 2 pi, you're going theta, and then you're going pi minus theta, pi plus theta, and 2 pi minus theta. So it's all the positive ones in that direction. And this one's going in the negative direction, like theta, 180 minus theta, 180 plus theta, 360 minus theta, but they're all negative because they're going in the negative direction. So get the acute angle. So when you do your acute angle on a half, you don't need to put the negative in because you only want the acute. That's 60, which is pi on 3. Okay, so going in this direction, where is cos negative? Here and here. So we are talking about this quadrant and this quadrant. So that means that you'll get minus pi on 3 and minus pi plus pi on 3. Okay, so that's minus, if you times that by 3, that would be 3 minus pi is 2. And if you times this by 3, you get 4 pi on 3. Okay, when you're doing this one here, you're going in same in that quadrant. So it's going to be pi plus pi on 3 and pi minus pi on 3 for those two quadrants. So that's going to be times 3 times 3. So it's going to be 3 plus 1 is 4 pi on 3, and 3 minus 1 is 2 pi on 3. So your solutions end up being, for 2 theta, minus 2 pi on 3, minus 4 pi on 3, 4 pi on 3, and 2 pi on 3. Now to get the theta by itself, we now need to get rid of the 2, so we have to divide everything by 2. So when we divide all of these by 2, that's the same as multiplying by a half. So that means that you do this by 2, this by 2, this by 2, this by 2. So the 2's cancel out, the 2 goes into that, the 2 cancels out, and the 2 cancels out. So you end up with theta equals minus pi on 3, minus 2 pi on 3, 2 pi on 3, and pi on 3. And what you notice about this is that it has now slipped back into the domain, where the domain is in between minus pi and pi. Okay, so once again, the reason why is because when you multiply everything by 2 to get 2 theta, then it comes between minus 2 pi and 2 pi. So you're just going 2 pi, which is this way, and minus 2 pi that way. So it's much easier to split it and do them as two separate things. This one's going around theta 180 minus theta 180 plus theta 360 minus theta, but in the negative direction. And this is doing the same thing, but in the positive direction. This one's hitting this one here in the positive direction and hitting it there in the positive, whereas this one's hitting it in the negative, and then it hits this one in the negative. And that's the reason why. Once you've got those answers, you just have to remember to divide by 2 to get rid of your 2. And yeah, that's your answer. Alright, so I might just do another one, but we might just do, say, sine 2 theta equals 0, and we'll do it for theta is in between minus pi and pi. Okay, so step 1, we know 2 theta is in between 2 pi and minus 2 pi. So that means we're going to have to split it, because it's much easier to do it as minus 2 pi, 2 theta and 0. 0, 2 theta and 2 pi. Okay, so we want sine equal to 0. It's actually a boundary angle, so that's 0 here and 2 pi. So with this one here, because we are going, sorry, I take those back, we're going in this direction. So it's anything on that line. So you go 0, see that's minus pi on 2, that's minus pi, that's minus 3 pi on 2, and round to here would be minus 2 pi. So on that particular line, it would be minus 2 pi and 0 and minus pi. So it means that 2 theta equals 0 minus pi minus 2 pi for that one. And this one here, so we're going around in the positive direction, but we're really focusing on that line there. So it's going to be 0, pi, and then 2 pi. Because it's not 90 and it's not 3 pi on 2. So on that line then, theta equals 0, pi, and 2 pi. That's 2 theta equals, sorry. So 2 theta is 0, minus pi minus 2 pi, 0, pi, and 2 pi. Now we don't need to write the 0 twice, but if we divide everything by 2, we'll get 0 on 2 is 0, minus pi on 2, minus 2 pi on 2, pi on 2, and 2 pi on 2. So just putting the 2 down the bottom, so it's 0 minus pi on 2, minus 90. 2's go out, minus pi, pi on 2, 2's go out, and you end up with the pi. And yeah, and that's your solution.